Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Eric Lofholm, and I want to take a moment and acknowledge you for being here. Today, we are talking about how to close. And I'm going to attempt to blow your mind today with high quality content, specific ideas that you can immediately implement to make more sales now. With the information I'm going to share with you on today's webinar, my intention is to deliver an additional $100,000 in value to you over the next 60 minutes. So what does that mean? That means you take action on the ideas I'm going to teach you, and it puts an extra $100,000 in your bank account from increased sales. Great job for being here. The ideas I'm going to share with you today, you are going to have for the rest of your life. Now, I want to just share with you what's possible. This is Rhonda Schur. Rhonda's one of my clients. And when I first started working with Rhonda, she had never been trained to script out her close. This is your first golden nugget. And it just makes so much logical sense, okay? Tony Robbins taught me, when two people meet, the person that's the most certain will almost always influence the other person. The person that's the most certain will almost always influence the other person. Now, I have 4 children. And my daughter, Sarah, sometimes she'll be in a play. And in a play, they give her a script. And she practices her words. And she goes to play practice. And they do the role play. And then it's the day to do the play. And she knocks it out of the park. As all the kids do. And they're up there. And they're confident. And they're certain. But they're not professional actors or actresses. So how do they get so confident? They put the words in their body by practicing their script. Well, Rhonda had never been trained in how to do that. And so I explained it to her. And she came to this realization. She goes, that makes so much sense for me to have my words down. So you're not doing ad lib when it comes to asking for the order. So Rhonda had a dream goal for her business to buy a car for her husband and pay all cash for the car out of profits from her business. So within 6 months of me teaching her how to script out her close and then building it into her business, she was able to create enough money to go buy this car for her husband. She paid $48,000 for the car. Now, you've probably all heard the expression, it takes money to make money. Not in sales. In sales, we go blah, 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 poof, $500. Blah, 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 poof, $5,000. My most successful sales presentation that I ever delivered, blah, 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 poof, 70 grand. Not a bad presentation. So when you improve your sales skills, you make more money. Then the question is, well, what do you want to do with the money? If you were making more money right now, what would you want to do with it? Rhonda wanted to buy a car for her husband. Maybe you want to pay off debt. Maybe you want to invest for your retirement. Maybe you want to buy real estate. Maybe you want to get some new clothes. Maybe you're due for a new car. Okay? So what we're talking about today is you making more money to do whatever you want to do with that money for the rest of your life. The ideas that I'm going to share with you today can help you close more sales every month for the rest of your life. I am going to share a few client success stories like the one I just shared with you about Rhonda. These are regular people who applied my system and they made more sales. Some of you are new to my conversation. Some of you on this call right now, you've been training with me for more than a decade. A little bit about my background. I've been in commission sales for over 25 years. I've been training people professionally like what we're doing today for over 19 years. I've written 14 books on sales and success. And most importantly, I can share ideas that will help you make more sales. Everybody wants to have a great life. Your next level in your life that you aspire to, it requires a different you. A little bit about my background. I was very successful right out of high school. My first job I ever had right out of high school, I made over 100,000. Now, I didn't make over $100,000. That would have been a great story. Kid right out of high school makes over $100,000. I didn't make over $100,000. I made over 100,000 hamburgers. I was a cook at McDonald's. This is a photo of me when I worked at McDonald's, and I went to community college at this time in my life. You're supposed to go to community college for 2 years. I went for 5 years and I never graduated. I'm still a couple of units shy of my A degree. So I was not exactly on the fast track to success. I had no goals at this point in my life, no direction. I was just kind of wandering aimlessly through life. And then everything changed for me. And I experienced a turning point. And my turning point happened when I met my first mentor, Dante Pirano. And he was a real estate trainer and a real estate investor. And he still is a real estate investor. And I was so inspired by Dante's message when I saw him speak that I went to work for him. And he offered me a sales job. So this is a young Eric Lofholm in my early 20s. And I was very stylish back then, as you could tell from this photo. I had my purple pants and my matching plaid socks. And at this company, I was the bottom producer. And at the end of my first year, I was put on quota probation. The quota was 10,000 in gross sales. I missed it 2 months in a row. And they said, Eric, look, my manager, he wrote me up. He's like, we have a 3 strikes and you're out rule. So you have 1 more month to hit your quota or we're going to fire you. So if any of you listening right now, if you've ever struggled in sales before, or if you're struggling right now, I want you to know that I understand, because that's exactly where I was at. And so I created the intention that I was going to increase my sales results. You have an intention to increase your sales results, or you wouldn't be on this webinar right now. So out of that intention, I met my first sales mentor, Dr. Donald Moyne. This is a photo of me with Dr. Moyne. Dr. Moyne is like Obi-Wan Kenobi. If you remember Obi-Wan from Star Wars and he mentored Luke Skywalker. Well, Dr. Moyne took me under his wing and he began to mentor and coach me. And he taught me his sales system. And I applied it. And by applying his sales system the next month, when I was on quota probation, I did 10,500. That means I made quota by 1 sale. The following month, I did 51,000. I went from worst to first in 60 days, and I never looked back. And what I learned from that experience, if you're taking notes, you might jot this down. Selling is a learned skill. Selling is a learned skill. I then went to work for Tony Robbins. I was with Tony for 3 years. And then in 1999, I branched off and started Eric Lofholm International. We're a global sales training organization, and we specialize in virtual professional sales training. I live in Rockland, California, and this is a photo of me with my family. I'm working today out of my home office, delivering this webinar to you. We are live on February 10th, so this is not a recording. I'm here actually giving you my energy right now to help and inspire you. And so I do most of my classes from right here in my home office. So if you do future trainings with me, that's likely where I'll be when I'm training you. Now, I am going to be covering a lot of content, and I'm going to be going pretty darn quick because we have a limited amount of time for me to get in as many golden nuggets as I can. So we had a request, Eric, can we get the notes of all the key ideas that you're going to share today? I said, sure. So here's how you request the notes. Just shoot me over an email. That is my personal email. If you ever need to reach me directly, that's how you get me, eric@ericlofholm.com. So send me an email right now, eric@ericlofholm.com. Put February 10 notes in the subject line. That way I know to get you the notes. And then include your name and phone number in the body of the email. And as long as you put your name and phone number in the body of the email, when our class is done today, a little bit later today, I'm going to send you over the notes of all the key ideas that I'm covering today. I have two outcomes for today's webinar. My first outcome is to share with you some great ideas to help you close more sales now and for the rest of your career. My second outcome is to extend an invitation for you and I to enter into a mentoring relationship. And I'm going to let the cat out of the bag about one thing. If you do want to work with me, the investment is only $50 a month. So money will not stand in the way of you getting professionally trained to help you step into your potential. I'll give you all the details about how the program works at the very end of the webinar after I've provided you professional training. So I'm often asked, Eric, how do you close? How do you close more effectively? And the answer lies in this realization that everything counts. So when I proposed to my wife, I said to her down on one knee, "Will you marry me?" And she said yes, because now she's my wife. But did she say yes because I said, "Will you marry me?" No. She said yes because all of the things that I did leading up to that point. So how I interacted with her when we first met, how I treated her on her first date, how I communicated with her in between our dates. Now she has two children and I have two children, so there came a time for me to meet her children. She was probably paying close attention to how I interacted with her kids, how I interacted when I met her parents, the vision that I cast for her about what our future would look like if we were to be a couple. So it wasn't me saying, "Will you marry me?" Although I did that, and that is absolutely an important piece of us getting married. It was everything. And so what we do in sales is you can dissect down every communication that you're going to have with your prospect. In other words, you can look at how does the lead come in, and then what do you communicate with them next, and then what do you do next, and then when you book an appointment, what do you say, and then when you run the appointment, what do you do, and what's the sequence, and what's the storytelling, and what's the probing questions, and how do you build trust and rapport? See, all of that counts and it makes a difference. Now, if you improve the probing questions in your presentation, does that mean that you're going to close the sale? Probably not. But if you improve the probing questions, it makes your presentation a little more effective. And then if you improve the stories. Now, some of you listening right now, you've never thought about strategically how you're using stories in your presentation. And it's not your fault if you've never done that, because many things in sales are easy, but they're not intuitive. So how did I know to use stories in my presentation? Dr. Moyne. That's how I knew. Because Dr. Moyne developed a system and he taught me the system. And then once he told me, Eric, this is a golden nugget for you. He said, Eric, before you deliver your presentation, figure out the success stories you're going to tell in the order that you're going to tell them in. And this is 20 years ago, over 20 years ago that he told me that. And I had no idea about that. How come I had no idea about that? Because I was a former cook at McDonald's. In my first year in sales, I'd never been professionally trained. So it never dawned on me to tell success stories. So I just want to check in with you guys. We're live here on this webinar. I want to check in with you, and you're in the question feature. All the hands are down. So let me ask you this question. Hit the hand raise button if you are coming to the realization that there's some room for you to improve in the area of storytelling in your presentation. Hit the hand raise button if you're coming to that conclusion. Carol says yes. Don says yes. Donna says yes. Dr. Lynn says yes. Joan says yes. Kevin says yes. Melanie says yes. Nina says yes. Nelson says yes. PJ, Rex, Sandra, Stan, Will. Okay, and there's others of you, AMJ, others of you as well. Listen to me. That is a huge realization, because you're not going to correct something that you're not aware is a challenge or a problem. So I just gave you an insight into your sales presentation. It's like, this is you. Huh. What Eric's saying makes sense. I really need to pay attention to the storytelling. Now, we're going to go deeper, and I'm going to give you many specific techniques in our time together today. But what the point I'm landing here is you say, well, Eric, how do I close? We look at everything, okay? Now, does that take some work? Yes. But what's the benefit if you put the work in? More money in your pocket for the rest of your life. So are you willing to put work in if it increases your income for life? That's the question. And the answer is yes, because you're here right now. You're putting work in right now. You're getting professionally trained by an expert right now in this moment. All right, here's your next golden nugget. Get your presentation down and deliver it over and over and over again. So what does that mean? It means that many of you, most of you, maybe all of you, you have certain presentations that you do repeatedly. So Billy Joel is one of my favorite musicians, and he plays Madison Square Garden about once a month, and he makes over $1 million a show. He lives in Long Island, so he commutes once a month to Madison Square Garden in Manhattan, couple-hour drive, does the show, $1 million or more in his pocket, goes back home. Well, if you went to his show this month, February, and then you went back again, if he was doing another one in March, and then you went back again, he was doing another one in April, you'd find it was really similar. If you go on tour with a concert, with a band, and you go city to city to city, they're doing the exact same show over and over and over. Why? Because human beings respond in predictable ways. So what does that mean? It means if you're a real estate agent and you're in the home doing a listing presentation, the listing presentation you do tonight is pretty similar to the one you're going to do tomorrow and next week and next month and next year. If you're in network marketing and you're doing a recruiting presentation, the structure of that recruiting presentation will be pretty much the same. If you're a social media consultant, you coach people and help people on building a presence on social media, and you're explaining your done-for-you services, that explanation is pretty much the same. So the concept is you put in the time, and it does take time, it does take discipline to get your presentation down, and then you do it over and over and over again for the rest of your life. Okay, I want to check back in with you. Hit the hand raise button if that's making sense to you to work on your presentation, put the time in to get it down, and then do it over and over and over. AMJ says yes, Bruce says yes, Carol says yes, Daryl says yes, Don says yes, Donald says yes, Donna, Dr. Lynn, Joan, Melanie. There's hands going up all over the webinar. That's a huge realization. All right, let's go deeper. There's 3 key systems to grow any business: lead generation, appointment setting, and lead conversion. There's 3 ways to elevate your results: inner game, outer game, and action. So as it relates to closing the sale, there's an inner game to closing. That's your mindset, that's your belief, that's your confidence. So if we increase your belief and your confidence, you're going to be more successful. The outer game is the how-tos. What you say, when you say it, how you say it. Every how-to sales technique can be learned. That's an empowering thought. Every single technique that I know, and I know a lot of them, doing this work for 19 years and being in commission sales for 25 years. Listen to me. Every technique I know you can learn. That's an empowering thought. And then the third component is action, and that's getting out and delivering the number of presentations that it takes in order for you to become more successful. Now let's talk about what's at stake. How much money do you make per sale? Now, it may vary if you sell more than one product, but do you make 100 a sale? Do you make 500 a sale? Do you make 2,000 a sale? Do you make 5,000 a sale? One of my clients, he sells franchises. He's a franchise consultant. He makes $15,000 to $20,000, sometimes more, per sale. One of my other clients, he's a recruiter and he makes over $20,000 a sale. Then some people, they have lower price products and they're making $100 a sale or 300 or 500 or 1,000. So how much do you make a sale? How much more money can you make per month if you put it all together? So if you're professionally trained, you know how to deliver your presentation, you're delivering enough presentations, how much more money per month can you make? How many more years do you plan on being in business? I plan on being in business for another 28 years. As of this live webinar, I'm 47 years old. I plan on doing this work until I'm 75. How much money is at stake over your lifetime? So if you put it all together, how much more money between now and the end of your career could you make? And for most of you, the conversation we're having right now, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions. Consider this thought. Increase your income. If you have any debt, pay off your debt so you're totally debt-free. Imagine how your life would be right now if you were totally debt-free. Then, in addition to paying your debt down, invest. And some of you are already doing that, and some of you are already debt-free. But here's the concept. Become debt-free, invest. Now, when you invest, you're making money on your money. Many of you, if you can get your income up and you combine that with investing, this conversation we're having right now could mean more than $1 million to you without exaggeration. Would you be willing to invest $50 a month to solve this problem? In other words, to get professionally trained so you can make more sales for the rest of your life. The idea behind sales training is you invest in sales training, you make a few sales, you recover your investment, and then you have this distinction. And this is one of my favorite ideas. This is called potential plus. You all have potential right now. When you train like what you're doing right now, you have a plus to your potential. So to keep it real simple, there was my potential before I met Dr. Moyne. Then I meet Dr. Moyne, he teaches me his system, and that's potential plus. That's my potential plus Dr. Moyne's energy, his ideas, his belief. The reason to learn sales, selling is a style of communication that increases the likelihood that the other person says yes. That's the conversation. You and I, we probably close 5 to 20 times every day because closing is not just a sales idea. If you go to a networking event and you say to somebody, would you like to exchange business cards? That is a close. You're asking for commitment. Let's say you're going to go out to dinner with somebody and you're deciding Chinese food, seafood, Italian. And you really want to go to Italian. And you ask them to go to Italian. That is a form of a close. Going to the movies, asking somebody, would you like to go to the movies? That's a form of a close. Getting your son to do his homework. You see, all selling is, it's a style of communication that increases the likelihood that the other person says yes. And when we're talking about closing, we're just asking for commitment. The Girl Scout selling Girl Scout cookies. Would you like to buy some Girl Scout cookies is a close. Will you marry me? My line that I said, my script to my wife when I proposed her. That is a close. Now, before we dive into some how-to techniques, I want to talk to you briefly about embracing sales. What do you think of when you think of a salesperson? I've asked that question of likely over 100,000 people through the years. And here's the answers I get. arm twisting, high pressure, manipulation, used car sales, liar, slick, fast talker. When I ask people, what do you think when you think of a salesperson? The most common answers I get are negative. And let's face it, there is a stigma to sales in our culture. So what I teach is this, and you're going to get this in your notes, those of you that requested the notes. You might also take a screenshot of what's on the screen there if you have a camera phone handy. This is my definition of selling. Selling equals service, sell from honesty, integrity, and compassion. Selling is about leading. Selling is about moving people to action. Selling equals service, sell from honesty, integrity, and compassion. Selling is about leading. Selling is about moving people to action. Change begins in language. There's a vocabulary to sales greatness. So there's a lot of different ways that I help people make more sales. One thing I do for people is I encourage them. Another thing I do is give them how-to techniques. Another thing I do is I provide them a system. But one of the other things I do is I provide them the vocabulary of sales greatness, because change begins in language. So I want to tell you a quick story about my client, Scott Southall, and I'm going to give you a tremendous golden nugget in this story. In my company this year, our revenues are up, gross sales are up about 30% over last year. And it is because of the technique I'm about to tell you. So this is Scott Southall. He's a photographer and a videographer. And when he started training with me, he was totally resistant to selling. And maybe some of you can relate with this. He just wanted to shoot the photography and do the videography. He didn't want to have to sell it. So some of you, maybe you're like that. You just want to, maybe you're an accountant and you just want to do the accounting for your clients. You don't want to have to actually sell it, but you're like, if I want clients, I have to sell it. So Scott was struggling with his sales. He was resistant to selling. And one day I was talking to him and I said, what do you say at the end of your presentation to lead and guide your prospect to action? In other words, I wanted to know, what's your closing script? And in his own way, he said, I don't have one. And so I helped him craft a closing script. Now, if you do choose to train with me for as little as $50 a month, I regularly do classes, and you get to join those classes. And one of the classes we have is how to write a word-for-word close. So we'll teach you exactly how to do it. So I worked with Scott, I helped him do it, and he started applying the script, and he got comfortable with it, and he started making more sales. And his breakthrough came when he decided to apply his new sales skills to selling a higher priced product. Now, this is a very simple idea, but let me ask you this. Do you sell more than one product where one of the products you sell, there's a higher commission opportunity? So my client, Mike Irwin, he sells college planning and financial services. He makes a lot more on the financial services than he does on the college planning. When I was working with Mike, he was focused on college planning, even though it paid a lower commission. And the reason he was selling the lower priced product is because he was more comfortable selling it. So Scott's selling $500 video packages. And he says, you know what? Now that I know how to sell, I want to sell $60,000 video marketing packages to corporations that are doing $5 to $10 million in annual revenues in my area. He lives down in Orange County. So Scott went from selling $500 packages to real estate agents to selling $60,000 packages to corporations doing $5 to $10 million a year in revenue. Now, as you can probably already figure out, his revenues went way up, and he was able to move to a nicer studio in a better location. Studio meaning photography and video studio. He was able to hire an employee. So this year in my business, we have put an emphasis on one of our higher priced products. And as a result, we've been selling more of that higher priced product and the revenue has been rolling in. So with your script for the close, write it down, role play it, practice it. Write it down, role play it, practice it. Now, you already know if you wrote down your script, and I can help you make it even better. You already know if you write it down, you role play it, and you practice it, that you're going to have more confidence and it's going to increase your closing ratio. Making more sales is predictable. Making more sales is predictable if you're willing to put in the work. Now, I want to tell you a really quick story because at least one of you on the line right now needs to hear this. And back in 2003, I was having my best financial year to date. I was on track to have my first $1 million year. I had 20 people working for me, and the wheels came off of my business. A series of events happened, and 19 of my 20 staff, they either quit or I had to let them go in 30 days. So I went from on track to have $1 million year to down to one employee in 30 days. And I had to shut my office down and go back and work from home. And I looked at my bank account and I was upside down $150,000. And I'd wake up in the morning depressed, and I wanted to just take the covers and pull them back up over my head and wish it would all go away. Now, I don't know if you've ever been there before or not, but that's where I was at. And I was under the most enormous amount of financial pressure I had ever been under. And I was confused. I didn't know what to do. And one day, this thought popped into my head, and it's on the screen in front of you right now. Eric, focus on revenue producing activities. And maybe you've had this experience in your life where a thought comes to you, or somebody shares an idea with you, and it just resonates so strongly, and you just know in your gut, you just know that's it. That's what I need to do. It might have been an experience in your life where you're like, enough is enough, and you drew a line in the sand. It might have been an experience in your life where you were making some bad decisions, and you just go, you know what? I have to make a change. Today's the day that I make a change. Well, for me, one of these times in my life, and I've had many of them, it was, Eric, the only way you're going to get out of this is you got to get back to focusing on revenue producing activities. So I asked myself the question, what are my revenue producing activities? And mine were generate leads, set appointments, go on sales calls. So I began to focus on those three things: generate appointments, generate leads, set appointments, go on sales calls. So I started doing that. And guess what happened? Money started coming in. And as money started coming in, I started feeling better. And as I was feeling better, I took more action. And as I took more action, more money came in. And it took me 18 months. And I turned it all around. I paid off $150,000 in debt by focusing on revenue producing activities. If you're in a place right now where you need more revenue and your back's against the wall financially, maybe not as extreme as mine was, or maybe it is that extreme, or maybe it's even more extreme. What I did is I focused on revenue producing activities. And I'm planting that seed of greatness in your mind that if you ever get in a situation in the future where you need more money, focus on revenue producing activities. Now, we are getting towards the end of our webinar today, and I still have several golden nuggets. So I'm just going to kind of go rapid fire with you guys. Know that your unconscious mind is picking up all of the ideas that I'm sharing with you right now. And I want to just go back in case anybody joined us late, because I'm about to go super rapid fire. And I offered the notes for today's webinar, and I want to just put that instructions up here for any of you that didn't see it. To request a copy of the notes, you're going to send me an email right now. And if you already did it, obviously you don't need to do it again. To eric@ericlofholm.com. And I just sent it to you in the webinar chat. So if you'd like the notes, email me right now, eric@ericlofholm.com. Put February 10th notes in the subject line so I know which notes to get you. Include your name and phone number in the body of the email. And as long as you include your name and phone number in the body of the email, and you let me know you want the February 10th notes, then I'll send you those notes. It'll come a little bit later on today. We'll get those notes over to you. So possibility thinking, what I'm about to tell you, this could be life-changing for you. When it comes to goal setting, the question is, should I set realistic goals or should I set stretch goals? A lot of people ask that. It's kind of like possibility thinking versus realistic thinking. So if somebody listening right now, you're on a sales team and there's 100 salespeople on your team. The question is, are you going to become the top producer this year? Now, if you're extremely confident, you might say, yes, Eric, I will become the top producer. But most people on a 100-person sales team are not going to believe that they're going to be the top producer. Well, let me ask you this question. Is it possible that you could become the top producer? And the answer is yes. Now, if you took action based on the possibility that you were going to become the top producer on your sales team, would that increase your results, yes or yes? And the answer is yes. So I want to invite you to consider taking action based on possibility thinking. So here's what I did in my life. I'm 28 years old. It's 1999. And I say, I want to become the Zig Ziglar of my generation, the most recognized sales trainer in the world for my generation. Now, was that realistic at age 28 with $5,000 sitting in my bank account and I'm working out of a spare bedroom in my condo and essentially no one has ever heard of me? That was not realistic. But was it possible? It was. And I said, okay, if I was to become that, what would I do? And the answer I got was I would speak and coach every day. So here we are 19 years later, and I speak and coach every day. So a couple days ago, I was talking to a loan team. Yesterday, I did a webinar. Today, I'm doing a webinar. Tomorrow, I'm speaking to a furniture sales team. Here I am 19 years later. I speak and coach every day. And I have built a global training brand from scratch based on possibility thinking. Is it possible you'll become a millionaire? See, some of you will go, it's not realistic, but it's possible. Some of you are already a millionaire. But if you started operating as if you were going to become a millionaire based on that possibility, it'll likely change your habits, which will change your financial results. This is a profound pivot in your thinking that can unlock extraordinary potential inside of you. This is my son here. We're with NBA Hall of Famer Rick Barry. Now, is it realistic my son, who's 15 years old, is going to play in the NBA? No. But is it possible? Yes. So we go out and seek elite professional coaching for my son. And that's my invitation for you today, for you to receive elite professional sales coaching from me for $50 a month. And then I'm going to train you. You're going to make a few sales. You're going to recover your investment in the sales training, and you're going to have potential plus. You have the opportunity today to put me on your success team for the rest of your life. And I'm going to blow you away in a little bit with a tremendous offer. But before we do that, I still have some more golden nuggets to share with you. So this is my son with his basketball. Obviously, he's doing a 2-ball drill. If he does a 2-ball drill 10 minutes a day for 30 days, will he get better at dribbling, yes or yes? Obviously, the answer is yes. That's you. That's you as it relates to your sales and business skills. If you work on your skills, you predictably get better based on the distinction potential plus. So I have 2 golden nuggets to share with you in the next section: sequencing and improve each step in the sequence. So this is computer code. Now, I'm assuming it's computer code. I have no idea what that says because I don't know computer code, but this is computer code. This is sales code. This is the code of how to deliver an effective presentation that closes. And what's so beautiful and elegant about what's on the screen is it shows you a step-by-step process. So what you're learning here is sequencing. Sequencing is the order that the presentation goes in. So when I train you, you become really focused on sequencing. What are the key points you want to cover in the order that you want to cover them in? This is what Dr. Moyne taught me. Prior to being trained by Dr. Moyne, I didn't understand sequencing. So this is the metaphor that I use when I train you. The other thing to get is that each step in the sales process here, you can focus on just that step. In other words, a chain is as strong as its weakest link. So if we take the link in the chain and we make it stronger, it makes the chain stronger. So look, see on the left-hand side where it says trust and rapport. You can forget everything above trust and rapport and everything below trust and rapport, and we can train just on trust and rapport. And when you train just on trust and rapport, it makes the overall presentation more persuasive. Does that mean you're going to close the next sale? Probably not. I mean, you could or couldn't, but just that isn't going to make the difference. But think about it like this. See above trust and rapport where it says identify customer needs. If we train, like forget everything else, we train just on that and you get better, it's going to make your presentation more effective. So what I do when I work with my clients is we train on all of it. I will make you better at every single step in the process, just like what I did with Scott Southall. And now he's selling $60,000 video marketing packages to companies doing $5 to $10 million a year in revenue. When you put a close together, all right, you script out your close. Here's how I teach you to do it. Step number one, transition into the close. That's a bridge statement from the body of the presentation into the close that lets the prospect know we're going to now talk about doing business. So it goes something like this. What I'd like to do now is share with you how I work with clients like yourself. That's a transition statement. The body of the close is where you go over all the details of the close. Price, what's included, what you'll learn, method of payment, length of contract, terms of payment, what you can expect, how it works. See, some of you have never written down every key thing that you need to cover in the close and then thought, what order should that go in? And if you've never done that, it's not your fault. Prior to me being professionally trained, I'd never done it either. I had no idea what to do because I'd never been trained. And then I got trained, and 60 days later, I was the top producer. Rhonda got trained, and 6 months later, she accumulated $48,000 to buy a car for her husband. Scott got trained, and he pivoted from a $500 sale to a $60,000 sale. Mike Irwin got trained, and he started, in addition to selling college planning, he started selling his financial services, and his savings account went up massively. So he has cash reserves now to get him out of financial stress. What I'm telling you guys, this is a no-brainer. All right. Number 3 is the final close. That's the sentence that you say when you ask. So, will you marry me is a final close. Would you like to buy some Girl Scout cookies? Can you help me out with the free referrals today? Are you ready to get started? See, some of you might not be asking at the end, and then you're wondering why you're not making more sales. And you're like, well, I don't want to be pushy. Okay, asking is not pushy. You've earned the right to ask at the end when you deliver a professional presentation. All right, so here's the next piece of closing. Make a list of the components of the close. That's like price, what's included, method of payment, terms of payment, length of contract, all the key things you need to cover. Then put them in order to create your outline. Then number 3, you script out each component. So one of the things I'm recognized for in professional sales training is being one of the top script writing trainers in the world today. In fact, my company probably trains more people in script writing than any other company in the world. And so what I do is I do these master classes with you. And these are group classes where people from all over the world that are my students for as little as $50 a month. And I teach you what I spent $30,000 learning from Dr. Moyne. And the only reason I'm able to do it for $50 a month is because I have so many students that I'm helping. So it's practically free. And you're going to get trained what I paid 30 grand for, and I'm going to teach you how to do it. Now, what I figured out was, because I've been teaching people for a lot of years, when I teach people, in a lot of cases, they wouldn't do anything with what I was teaching them. So then I started giving homework. And so here's how we do it. I teach you how to write the script, and then you're to write whatever part of the script. We just do one section at a time. I usually have you do about 30 minutes worth of homework, okay? Once a week. So you do the 30 minutes, and then you email it to me for accountability. Because I figured out if I wasn't holding people accountable, they weren't doing it. So I'll hold you accountable, professionally train you, encourage and inspire you. All right, so this is what you want to do. You want to make a list of the components of the close, put them in order, create your closing outline, and then script it out. Now, we talked earlier about success stories. And I'm going to give you a quick little formula for how to tell a success story. Number one, this is in your script. State the problem that the person had. Number two, what's the product or service they bought from you? Three, what's the result it produced? And then four, what's the benefit of the result? And I'll put this in the notes when I email you. So here's the formula again. The formula is problem. Number one, what do they buy? Number two, what result did it produce? Number three, what's the benefit of the result? So I'll show you a couple of examples. So Doak Belt's one of my clients. He's in financial services. And Doak was making about $30,000 a year when I met him. And he got to a point where he was considering getting out of financial services because he was struggling and he wasn't closing. And so we got him professionally trained, and Doak went from 30 grand a year in income to now he has months, in some cases, where he makes $25,000 in a month. Now, imagine you're making more money. What would you do with the money? Well, here's what Doak decided to do. This is Doak, his son Caden, and his wife Ver. Doak decided to make it optional for his wife to become a stay-at-home mom because that's what she wanted. Then he decided to start buying real estate for his retirement. So this is Doak in front of one of his 6 rental properties. Now, you all have different goals of what you want to do with your money. If you want to buy real estate, you might say, Eric, the number one reason I'm not buying more real estate right now is I don't have enough cash to do it. Well, let's solve it. Let's get you making more money so you can invest and become a millionaire, multimillionaire, or whatever your goals are. Whatever you want to. Maybe it's buying a new car like Rhonda. Now, this is Judy O'Higgins on the left there. She's in a company called Send Out Cards, which is network marketing. Now, my system works in any industry. I have not yet once met somebody, and I've trained all over the world, that cannot benefit from what I teach. Judy happens to be in network marketing. She had never been professionally trained in sales before. She recognized she needed sales for recruiting and selling her Send Out Cards product. So I helped Judy build a 5,000 person team with my system. She got to number 20 in the company. And she was able to retire from being a counselor from her income in Send Out Cards. What I'd like to do now is simply extend an invitation to what I believe is the premier virtual professional sales training program in the world. And one of the reasons why I feel so strongly about it is what I do in my program is what an elite chef does with cooking. See, a great chef and an elite chef, the difference in my view between the two is they're both great with the ingredients and they both make amazing food, but the elite chef mixes love into the food. And so I mix love into the training. I truly care about helping people become more successful. And that's one of the reasons why I've priced my program at $50 a month. I don't want money to stand in the way of you receiving mentoring from me. The investment for a year of professional training is $997. One of the things I'm known for in my industry is irresistible offers. So I have an irresistible offer for you today. I'm going to offer you a price incentive and allow you to participate for as little as $50 a month. The way I train you is we do a master class once a week, and they're usually about 30 minutes, and you can do them on your smartphone or your computer. Every class gets recorded because you might be on a sales call or you might be at your son's soccer game. So you're like, oh, I want to do that scripting class, Eric, but I can't make it. So we just provide you the recording. But we always do them live. Just like today's February 10th. I'm live with you guys right now. Okay? So I bring my energy every week live. And if you can't make it live, you have access to the recording. And the concept behind the masterclass is that we want to break down the sales process. 1 week it's trust and rapport, and then it's identifying customer needs, and then it's the close, and then it's objection handling. So over the course of a year, you're going to get so good, and you're going to have that skill set for the rest of your life. Then once a year, you're invited to our live 2-day boot camp, and people fly from all over the world, and we meet and we train, and that's part of the course. Now, not everybody can come to that because of scheduling situations, or maybe you live in Australia and it just doesn't work for you to fly to California, although I have had clients fly from Australia before. So we do it virtually too. So you can do the boot camp virtually. And then we put all of the content in our membership website, and it's all indexed. So you can go, if you want to work right on closing, you want to go straight to the sales scripting, or you want to go to objection handling, you have me on demand with these master classes. And then we have a private Facebook group, over 1,800 members. Anytime you have a question, just go into the Facebook group and ask the question of the group. Here's some of the classes. The scripting class, guys, is off the charts. I'm having so much success training my students on how to write their scripts, and because of the homework and you're accountable to me, getting you to actually do it. Overcoming the common objections, that's a wonderful class. Writing your closing script. Prospecting outreach, that's for those of you that know you need to prospect more, but you're having a hard time getting yourself to do it. So we have a master class to train you on how to do more prospecting outreach, and then as part of the homework, you actually do the outreach and you're accountable to doing it. It's a wonderful class. One thing to notice on accountability, some of you may have never been in an accountability relationship before, like what I'm talking about. Two things. One is it's optional. So some of my students, they don't want the accountability. They just want the advanced training. So they don't ever report to me, and that's totally fine. The second thing to know about accountability is that I coach from a nurturing, caring space. So this is a safe space for you to learn. And it's just done from a very loving, caring space. So just know that if you do choose to do the accountability. We have classes on generating leads, creating referrals, following up, all the key aspects of sales we're going to train you on. You're going to learn how to get unlimited leads, how to set unlimited appointments, how to close. I'm going to boost your confidence in all of these areas. Now, one of the specials I'm running on today's webinar, and this is for those of you that register in the next hour. And we're going to do this on the honesty policy. So register in the next hour. And if you're watching the recording, you have 1 hour to take action on this. And if you're live with me, I know who's live here. You have 1 hour to take action. 1 year from today, when your masterclass membership would expire, instead of having it expire, we're going to waive the renewal fee. So what that means is 1 year from today, you can keep taking the classes. Any new classes that I come out with, you get to do that, and you don't have to pay ever again. So it's a one-time payment today. There's no risk in this. It's a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. So you'll try the program out today for as little as $50 a month. So it's $50 to get started. It's one of the options. And if you're unhappy for any reason, we have a written, no questions asked, 100% money back guarantee, so you have absolutely no risk. The discount for signing up for the next hour is $500, and it makes your total investment only $497 to get professionally trained to put me on your success team for life. Now, you make a couple of sales, you're going to earn that back, And now you have a professional training relationship with one of the top sales trainers in the world today in a lifetime membership. Now, we're going to do an additional $100 for those of you that take action in the next hour to get professionally trained by me for life for only $397. Now, throughout the webinar, I referenced this $50 option a couple times. So here's how it works. It's $397 or 12 payments of $50. And so if you do the math on that, 12 times 50 comes out to 600, and we're going to actually knock $100. So I'm going to show you how this is going to work, guys. We're going to go 397 or 10 payments if you do the payment plan. And then let me just make this see. There we go. Now, we have a special bonus for those of you that register in the next 10 minutes. And these bonuses are fantastic. So register in the next 10 minutes. This is a fast action bonus. I've got 3 bonuses for you. The first bonus is I'm going to throw in my time management course. And that one's valued at $77. And I'm going to give that to you at no cost for registering in the next 10 minutes. Next bonus, I'm going to throw in my Sales Superstar course. It's my most popular audio program ever, valued at $99. You do that class on the internet. And then the third one, to me, this is the most significant, is I'm going to pair you up with one of my coaches to do a half-an-hour one-on-one coaching session with you. Now, if you pay in full, which is $397, I will do the coaching session with you. If you do the payment plan, one of my expert coaches will do the coaching session with you. So the way that you're going to register is you're going to go right now to goldprotege.com. Now, when you go to goldprotege.com, the pricing on that webpage is way over $397. So what I did right before I got on the webinar with you guys is I went into the back office of the website. So when you click the order button, before you put in your credit card, it has this correct pricing. So you can go to goldprotege.com, hit any of the order buttons, and then before you actually put in your credit card, it will give you the correct pricing of $397 or 10 payments of $50. So it's not both. You don't do $397 and $50 a month. It's either $397 one time or 10 payments of $50. You can also order by calling or texting 916-626-1945. Now, in just a moment, I'm going to wrap up with my classic closing line. And you guys have my permission to use this one in your close if you choose to. So I just wanted to quickly go over to the goldprotege.com website just to show you what this looks like. So you go to this website, goldprotege.com, and you come down here. And if you look at any of the pricing, it's significantly higher than what I just said. But you just hit one of these order buttons like this one. You just click that, and it takes you to the order page. And then down here at the bottom, there's your correct pricing. It's either $397 or $50 today, and then 9 extra payments of $50. You just pick which option. Here's your written 30-day money-back guarantee. And here's your credit card options: American Express, Discover, MasterCard, or Visa. So that's where you'll go to order goldprotege.com. Now, I want to wrap with my classic closing line. And it goes like this. Whether you decide to sign up for my program or not, you pay either way. There is an investment in the training. It's $300, $397, or $50 a month for 10 months. There's also a cost for not getting the training. And it's all the sales that you will miss out on if you don't do the training. And I understand this, guys, because I was a bottom producer. I showed you this photo earlier. This was me before I was professionally trained. I now earn an extraordinary income doing work that I love because of the training that I received that I'll be covering in this class. Because I'm going to teach you what I learned from Dr. Moyne and Tony Robbins and Les Brown and Michael Gerber and all these amazing people that I've had the privilege of training with. Ask yourself, how many sales do you need to make to earn back $397? It's probably one or two. Do you believe with expert professional sales training that you can make an extra one or two sales between now and the end of your career? Yes or yes? So what that means is that once you've done that, in essence, the program is free. Let me ask you this question. Would you invest in a stock? Would you put $400 in the stock market if you knew that that $400 was going to turn into $4,000, $40,000, or $400,000? And obviously the answer is of course. Well, the greatest investment that I've ever made is not in a stock, and it's not in a piece of real estate. It's in my own professional development. There's so many good reasons to sign up, but I'm just gonna wrap with this last one, and it's that concept of love. The elite chef puts love into the food. And I pour out my heart and soul every single week in these master classes. And there's not a trainer on the planet in the sales space outside of myself that puts that much energy into a $400 program. So I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to inspire you. I'm going to help you become the best version of yourself. If you're in financial stress, we're going to get your income up. We're going to get you out of financial stress. If you're not investing, I would love to help you make enough money so we can get you investing. If you haven't had a new car in a while, I'd love for you to be able to create enough money. You can go down to that dealership and you can buy whatever car you think is the right car for you. If you're not a homeowner, I'd love to help you get that income up so you can become a homeowner. And what I'll tell you is everything I'm telling you, this is absolutely real. And if after joining the program, if you don't feel that for yourself, it's 100% money back guarantee. With the recordings of the classes, we make it so easy for you to participate. If you're on the fence right now and you're like, should I do it? Should I not do it? Just do it. Just take action. You have nothing to risk and everything to gain. Look at it like this. Whether you sign up for my course or not, you're going to spend this $397 or the $50 a month. You're going to spend it on something. I cannot think of anything that you could put that money into that's going to give you more value than a lifetime membership with me helping you to become more successful. I've been doing this for the last 19 years professionally, helping people all over the world to become more successful. So that's going to wrap up the webinar. I do want to acknowledge you for showing up for the webinar today. I'm excited to work with those of you that would like my help. And we're going to get to work and we're going to make this thing happen. So take action right now. If you haven't already, go to goldprotege.com. We're going to start the 10-minute timer in just a minute. If you pay in full, you're going to get some personal time with me. If you do the payment plan, you're going to get some personal time with one of my master coaches that I've personally mentored. Or you can call or text to order at 916-626-1945. If you have any questions, call or text that number. And I look forward to helping you. Have a wonderful, successful, productive day. That's going to wrap up our webinar. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.